This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Jack Threads. Today on the show, we become detectives and check out the game L.A. Noire.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Totally Rad Show. We've got a great week. Today we are talking about the new Rockstar game, L.A. Noire.
Yeah, and tomorrow we are going to go see some early footage of Transformers 3 in 3D with James Cameron and Michael Bay talking about the future of 3D, and we're gonna report to you everything we see. I don't even know what it's gonna be like.
I don't either, and unfortunately Dan doesn't even get to go, which is really sad.
I'm gonna be away for that, and for a Wednesday, these guys are going to see Kung Fu Panda 2, and we'll be talking about that, probably with someone much cooler than me.
I agree.
Maybe not.
On Thursday, we are back in studio for On My Radar, and we got some cool stuff that you saw at Activision.
Yeah, a little Modern Warfare
3 we're gonna be talking about.
And then Friday, we're gonna wrap it all up with a really fun game of
Tagline Takedown.
Tagline Takedown, the game that started it all.
Yeah.
It really is.
Did it?
Sweeping the nation. I think it was,
You just won.
I just won.
Oh, speaking of things that started things.
Yes!
That background.
How awesome is this?
It has to be a drawing before it's anything else.
Of course.
A mere concept.
I'm Green Arrow. Dan is Lex Luthor.
Yes.
Jeff is Superman, of course.
Oh, love it. And
amazing. Peter Kiriglow. Amazing.
You said that, you rolled off your tongue as if there was no other possible pronunciation.
I'm sure there isn't, yeah.
That's what it is. All right, people, let's get into it.
Let's do it. Whenever we get a new release from Rockstar Games, it's a big deal, and that is no exception with L.A. Noire. L.A. Noire is a crime drama set in 1947 in Los Angeles, and it's reminiscent of films like L.A. Confidential and The Black Dahlia, and harkens back to an old style of video game, the adventure game that we all grew up with. Of course, you may have already noticed that we are without Dan Trachtenberg.
Dan has become an attractive woman. He's
we
finally grown
got
up.
our wish. We called up my friend Andrea Rene from Clevver Games. She's joining us, but I'm actually going to start with Alex today. Get your opinion on L.A. Noire. I know that you are not a fan of the open world game.
Not at all.
But I would argue that this is an adventure game masquerading as an open world game. And I also know that you like procedurals.
Yes.
And this is very much a procedural.
Yeah, it's almost like Law & Order, the 40s edition, the video game that's sort of like Police Quest.
Yeah, you're going around, you're looking for clues.
Yeah.
You're interrogating suspects.
So this game, to me, is the perfect marriage between Grand Theft Auto and Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
It's what I wished the experience of playing Heavy Rain was, which is that very story-driven mystery with some action, but that the action feels like action in a video game, and the mystery feels like what I dreamed was actually happening inside my computer when playing King's Quest.
Or Police Quest.
Or Police Quest, specifically.
Yeah.
This game was so much fun. It's so unique. It's almost more akin to Heavy Rain in the fact that there's really nothing like this out there. I mean, it's so specific with the story-driven stuff. I'm not a big fan of open world games, as you guys know, and I will tell you now if you don't, I'm not a big fan of them. They did something in this game that I think really cracked the nut in the same way that I think co-op does for a lot of single-player games that I find boring because I'm like, oh my god, I did that! Oh, nobody's here to see that. Well, that was fun. They allow you to force your partner to drive you to the next location.
Right.
That, to me, completely fixes all of the open world game problems. And I realize the thing that I hate about open world games is even though I know the global destination, because all this other shit is popping up of things to do, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm horrible at Rockstar driving. Horrible at Rockstar driving. I think a lot of people are. But they also did things...
I don't know if that's the people or if that's the engine, the driving engine.
I don't know what it is, but the other thing that they did that I thought was really great was, most of the drivey things for the most part in the past open world games were, holy shit, get in a car and go as fast as you can. Oh, but stop killing people while you're driving. Like, stop hitting people with your car. And it's like, well, what? One or the other, man. I mean, I either got to get there on time and I can kill people because I'm clearly going through telephone poles and park benches.
Yeah.
And if they're not jumping out of the way fast enough, that's not my fault. But they added in this really cool sort of suspect tailing moments in the game, which really, to me, I think I get now why the driving is so hard, because driving in real life is hard, and it wants you to become immersive, and with this tailing thing, it becomes that thing of, I almost wanted to like turn my turn signal indicator on so that people knew I was turning so the cars would get out of the way, you know what I mean? But I had a blast. I think the story is amazing. The animation, the facial animations are unbelievable. I mean, this is the best acting I've ever seen in a video game. The unfortunate side to that is the faces are so good that when the arms like do weird things, or you like bump into a car and the person is perfectly acting fine, but like in a side of a couch.
I want to talk about that.
It really jumps.
I want to talk about that more in a second. Let's find out what Andrea has to say about L.A. Noire. What was your experience with the game?
Well, let's start with the good. I also agree that the yes, let's start with the good. I agree that the graphics with the facial recognition was out of this world, unlike anything we've ever seen before in a video game. And I'm really excited to see more of this. But it also is a video game, so it is really jarring when things go wrong, or when you're driving in your car and you hit a fire hydrant and the doors fly off and your partner just keeps talking to you like nothing happened. There were so many times when I was driving and
you shouldn't have hit that fire hydrant.
I just cracked up because I would hit a telephone pole or a light post, and my partner would keep talking to me like, hey, no big deal, everything's all good. But then if I almost hit a person, he'd be like, you're gonna kill somebody. It was just really kind of weird to me. I was like, you're half in this immersive world, and then there are these moments that really bring you out really fast. And I didn't really like that. I was like, I either want to be in it all the way, I want it to be really super realistic, or I want to just make it Grand Theft Auto. I mean, and I don't have a problem with the driving engine because I rule the roads of Vice City, so that's no problem about that. But so that was something for me that I really didn't like. Something that I did like was the narrative and the world. The world was so rich. I think that a lot of times in video games you get these really like outer space, alien, crazy imagination things, and it was really nice, breath of fresh air, to get something that was so beautiful and so much of a throwback. So I really like that, but I have to admit, I fell asleep not once, not twice, but 3 nights in a row playing this game.
Oh my god. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, because you didn't want to go to bed, or?
No, it was a bad
He was like, it was 9 o'clock.
It was 9. I woke up and then was up for 4 hours.
No, it was the pacing of the game was way too slow for me.
Really?
I think that as gamers, we're kind of conditioned to be very ADD. And this game was like, you know what, we're gonna take all that away and really make you have to focus. And a lot of the reviews that you read say that you really need to pay attention to every little minute detail, especially when you're interrogating people. And I just was not very good at that. I was horrible at interviewing people.
Wow.
Horrible.
See,
I hated when I got questions wrong. When it came out, I was
too.
like, no, why is there an X there? That was good information.
I've
Exactly.
never been so invested
in a cutscene.
Well, in a cutscene, yes, and in the end of mission report. You know, a lot of games do that, grading you and stuff. And it's like, eh. But in this game, I was like, ooh, I could have done better.
Especially the little note of like, well, if you had pressed him harder, you could have finished it earlier. And I'm like, well, what? Damn it.
Yeah, it's interesting the things that you say, because I love the pace of the game. I love that it has the courage to be slow, that when I hold the run button, it feels weird. I feel like, this is a game where I walk because it feels more realistic. And all those moments that you mentioned of being pulled out of the immersion of the game, I think is a credit to how immersive it is. I mean, there's so much attention to detail in the world, in every location, in the time period, in the music. It's so wonderfully rich, detailed world that there are moments that pull you out really quick because of how realistic it is. Like, for example, just the fact that when I go on these side missions and I start killing people, I'm like, I shouldn't be able to just shoot people dead with no repercussions, you know?
Well, especially when you get shot and then you're fine. You like walk back to the car after you took like 4 bullets. You know?
It's like all the moments that are video gamey, because the game is so much more like experiencing a television series or a film or a novel, that when you do that video game stuff, and I know I said doo-doo, that it feels weird. It pulls you out, and I love that there's a game where that's the case.
Yeah.
You know, that the writing is so good, and like you said, the acting is so good.
Yeah, and the way that it is broken up, as you called it, procedural, that like each sort of mission is its own story arc that could be a Twilight Zone episode. You know what I mean? Like, well, although
not Twilight Zone.
Not like Twilight Zone because there's nothing weird going on, but well, some weird stuff. Voodoo heads. Yeah, the one thing I was going to say, though, is, and more to your point about sort of being pulled out while your doors fly off the cars, I don't think it needed the GTA open worldness to it. Well, it was such an amazing game, and if it was just tied together, still had the driving moments, but instead of seeing that GTA map in the bottom left, you just went to the next. It said, "Where do you want to go?" And you look at your notebook and you choose a place.
I disagree in that.
But some people love that, and maybe it's just because I don't like that.
Well, I agree with you.
I didn't like it either, and I'm a big fan of the open world of games of Rockstar, and I just I felt it so tedious, and because you couldn't move fast in those vehicles, it was like, what's the point? I'm wasting time here at an already slow-paced game.
Well, I agree with
slow.
you that it has that Rockstar problem where you're playing in the minimap too much, but I will say that it allows you to play as much an open world game as you want.
Definitely.
And having an entire world there all the time, that when I go to a new location, that I'm not in that video game invisible walled garden of that location, that I can just wander around. It makes that world seem real.
Yeah.
And that is amazing to me.
Plus, it's LA. I mean, did you open up the map and you were like,
did.
I was on Beverly
pissed that
Boulevard in Melrose.
We couldn't get to our house.
I know, believe me, I tried.
The west side is not available. But you know, it does so many great things right. I want to talk a little bit about the Uncanny Valley, because I think this game is the poster child for Uncanny Valley, where like you guys were saying, how good the facial animation is, and it really is spectacular.
Yeah.
And like you said, the new standard, I think. There's moments where I felt like, oh wow, that's so real. It looks like real act. Oh God, what's wrong with their face?
Yeah, the eye just goes, and you're like, whoa!
Yeah.
It definitely happens all the time. I mean, it is. You get that thing where you're like, wow, it's like I'm watching actors, and then like it shows you from the side, and their face is all like smushed in, and you're like, oh, that's not on a person.
I'm impressed with how good the interrogation mechanic is, because
it starts off very linear. Like if they go at the end, you're like, doubt. You know what I mean? But then it becomes really hard and subtle, and it almost like trains you into figuring out these like subtle little tells and really listening to what they're saying.
Exactly.
Which is
How
very
amazing
rare.
is that?
Yeah, and in video games, they figured out a way to.
I know it puts you to sleep, but
yeah, but they figured out a way to really keep you tuned into what it is that the characters are saying.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm excited about Star Wars Old Republic.
Yeah, right. It's not going to be like that. And
you make a good point about having to really pay attention. I remember, I think the first case that I kind of like that clicked in for me was when I was interviewing like the daughter of the woman who was murdered, and you have to like she's in the house by herself.
Yeah.
And I like got almost all the questions wrong, because I guess I just assumed that she was lying because she was like looking off the screen, but it's like, well, turns out she's probably just distraught because her mom is dead.
Right, exactly.
The brilliant thing is that of the three options you have, truth, doubt, and lie, that truth, of course, is way over here, but doubt and lie are really close together. So you have, it's shades of gray between a doubt and a lie, and you gotta back up that lie with hard evidence. And so I look at my notebook, I'm like, well, is that really what is proving that he's lying or not?
Oh yeah,
It's
and that's the worst.
Wonderful moment.
You're like, yeah, it's like the underwear, and it's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know, I was guessing. Like, can I go back?
That's great. And the intuition points, it's just, I think the game works really well, and I'm sad that you
I don't not like it. For the record, I don't not like it. It's just not my favorite. But I do.
You need more action.
Right, and I'm gonna go and give it another try.
Or if like you're having a hard time sleeping or something, you just pop in LA Noire.
I think that if.
But I am mad that there's too many dead naked ladies, and you can't be a lady detective.
All right, there you have it.
That's it.
Yes.
No lady detective here.
So you're from Clevver Games. We can find you where?
Yes, youtube.com/Clevver Games with a double V.
Awesome.
Double V.
Ooh, nice.
Here we do with the punch out.
All right, everybody, remember to stick around for this day in Rad history. But first, sponsors. Jeffrey Kennard.
Spring is springing. Summer is coming. What is the last thing I want to be doing? Shopping for clothes. And yet, there's a dichotomy because I want to look good in the summer. I want to look good. Guess what? We have the solution. It's called Jack Threads. Jack Threads is a members-only online shopping club that does all the dirty work for you, and not only that,
What?
saves you money. See, here's how it works. They send you an email. I get one every single day. It's super cool. I peruse the different brands that they have. They have really cool name brands. They got stuff like Kid Robot, The Hundreds, American Apparel.
Very
Love
nice.
the hundreds.
I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you're part of Jack Threads' super members-only club, you can get that stuff for up to 80% off.
All right, now, all joking aside, that's pretty epic.
That is really epic. I
much
don't
does it
know who
cost?
was joking.
How much does
who
it
was
cost?
joking?
No, I'm just saying, people,
80%
all
off.
joking aside, that is
The
serious.
club, members only. You can't get it.
I get
You can't
that. I
just
get that.
stroll into Jack Threads online community and say, I want to be a part of that.
Because it's online. There's no strolling online.
Not only that, it's members only, dude.
Right.
But we got your hookup. JackThreads.com/TRS gets you to the front of the line, get you in the club, and guess
Perfect,
what?
what?
This is the question you asked
What?
before. It's
How much
free.
was it? No!
There it is.
No!
I can't believe it either.
I'm excited.
Don't miss out on the cool things. Seriously, I get an email every single day and it's got really cool clothes and I just go beep, beep, beep. Don't
There
have
you
to
go.
shop. It's awesome. JackThreads.com/TRS. Instantly start saving without having to leave your house.
All right, people, what else is awesome? We'll be back tomorrow.
Send in backgrounds. Do it.
Don't miss tomorrow's show when we check out a preview of Transformers in 3D.
Today is May 23rd, and on this day in rad history, in 1994, Pulp Fiction won the Golden Palm for the best film. What bang! At the
Palme d'Or.
the Palme d'Or, at the 47th Cannes Film Festival or Cannes Film
Cannes.
Festival.
It's Cannes.
Cannes.
This can amazing. This was a huge. This is you can watch this moment
The
on
beginning,
YouTube.
the beginning of the Pulp Fiction phenomenon.
The
Yeah.
beginning of
Changed
the
my life.
independent film phenomenon.
Yeah.
The beginning of.
Interesting.
I don't think I revered a movie quite as much as Pulp Fiction since Star Wars and stuff from like youth. That was the movie meant. It changed how I looked at films.
Yeah.
Interesting. That was sent in by @DarkDemon.
Thanks, Dark Demon.
So